Hello, it is I, your boy Gomi, and we are back with another UFC Fight Night. And I gotta say, I was optimistic about the last card. We'll talk about it in a sec, because I have some feelings on that card. But this card, I'm not very optimistic in. Last week was wow. Even though on paper, the card seemed very good. Like, it tied the record for most knockouts in a fight night. Yet at the same time, I left the card very, very dissatisfied. It could have been the very poor main event, to be honest with you, because it really didn't feel like Aaron Blanchfield and Manipur were the number 2 or number 3 in the world of anything, to be honest with you. Luque just kind of quit. Awful reffing, awful officiating. I don't know. It was not an enjoyable night of fights. I don't know how this one's gonna go. I really only lean towards 2 fights as being really good bangers, maybe 2.5, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope it ends up being one of the best cards of all time. Oh god. First fight in the card is gonna be Nora Cornhole versus Melissa Mullins. I'm gonna go by her name that I've seen everywhere else, which is Melissa Dixon. I don't know about this fight. I gotta say, Dixon, she should win this, but it's honestly a dogger pass. Melissa Dixon hasn't looked great in her wins, even though she is perfect 6-0. She still doesn't feel like she should be a 6-0, to be perfectly honest with you. Her win over Irina Aleskeva was not that impressive, and it had been quite a bit ago. It's not a huge layoff, but it's been a little bit ago. Meanwhile, the wins for Nora Cornhole is a good old Jocelyn Edwards. That's her only win in UFC. That doesn't account for much, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to be leaning towards Melissa Dixon, like I said. That's really about it. Dylan Butka versus Cesar Almeida. Debutantes going up against each other. So first off, the advantage for this fight is going to be Cesar Almeida. Almeida is going to be a much better striker overall. I like his jabs. I like his hooks. I like everything he's doing on the feet better. Meanwhile, Butka is a much better grappler, to be honest with you. But Butka also is a very boring grappler. He's definitely going to be looking to win minutes. He's definitely going to be looking to clinch up with him, get his fight to the ground, and some good old-fashioned lay and Brey. It's going to be one of the middleweight fights of all time if Butka gets his way, but if Almeida gets his way, he could definitely starve off his aggression, land some really good power shots, maybe even get a finish, and that's what I'm actually going to be leaning towards, because from Dylan Butka, I haven't seen good offensive abilities on the feet from him, to be honest with you. I can see Almeida piecing him up. Almeida just needs to keep his takedown defense in order, which is solid. It's okay. It's 70%. If he cannot get taken down, he can piece him up on the feet. Dan Argueta versus Gene Matsumoto. Matsumoto is coming in this as a very hyped and touted prospect, but I don't know. I think this might be a jump for him. He is a perfect 14-0, but he's going up against nobodies. He has a win in the Contender Series over, I believe, Casey Tanner, which was a overall decision. He's not a super prolific finisher. He's got some good finishes. He has more finishes than he does decisions, but still more finishes than he has wins. Dan Argueta, though, on the other hand, he's coming off I believe it's he's coming off 2 no contests. I was about to say he had the no contest against Miles Johns, but we know Miles Johns popped for something. It clearly wasn't like actual roids or a heavy performance enhancement because he only has 6 months suspension. But whatever the case is, he popped. And he's coming off the other no contest against Ronnie Lawrence. I don't even remember what that was. I genuinely don't remember, but oh well. Beyond that, the only person he's lost to is Damon Jackson. And Damon Jackson, who we'll be talking about later in the card, not the best, to be honest with you. I don't think Damon Jackson's the best. I think Dan Argueta lost that fight, yeah, but that was years ago. I think he's improved quite a bit on his loss. I think his striking grappling's improved quite a bit. I like Dan Argueta in this matchup, mainly because he has more experience than Gene Matsumoto in the UFC level. Matsumoto has more fights, but against not really much like notable competition. So I'm actually going to be leaning Dan Argueta to win on a decision, ? Pierre Rodriguez versus Cynthia Calello. This is it. This is a shit. Oh man, I'm losing my composure. But this is the thing. These are things that make me go, I don't know how much I care about this. Like, this is the things that make me go, wow, this is indeed a fight night. This is indeed one of the fight nights of all time. Because of fights like this. What is so bad about this fight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's on a 5-fight losing streak. Cynthia Calello, why are we like entertaining this idea of having fighters on such massive losing streaks keep going? What is the point? Why are they here? Do they need to be here? Is this the best of the best in the world, or are we just trying to get a quota of fights we can have? I'm getting too into it. Yeah, I'm not picking Cynthia Calello for anything. Rodriguez by however she wants. She's got good grappling. Screw this fight. I can never say his name. I've heard it said so many times. Can't say it. I hate my life. Versus Vter Hugo. What is his name? Mongolian. What was his name again? Mongolian Knight. Yeah. Okay. The Mongolian Knight. He is much more experienced in the UFC level. He has much more UFC experience. He can land big shots, but my problem with him is he's very inactive on the feet. He doesn't throw as much as he honestly should. He kind of hangs back. He kind of like plays around, and not plays around, but he's very low volume, and low volume could be disastrous when you're going up against Vter Hugo. Vter Hugo, he's got power. And he has a really good grappling. He has really good grappling. I'm liking Vter Hugo in this, but I just don't think he's going to be able to take down the Mongolian Knight. I think he's really going to take him down on the ground, beat him up. He has some very vicious ground and pound. That is one thing to mention. His ground and pound is very vicious. So if he gets on him, it won't be a lay and pray. It will be a beat him up. It's just, I don't know. He's mainly a grappler. Even though his nickname is Striker, he primarily only grapples. And we know that they don't value grappling as much nowadays, like control time. He can definitely land volume. He could definitely land some serious ground and pound. But if he just holds on to him, if Mongolian Knight keeps his takedown defense in order, or he's very active on the bottom, or he's able to get up, it can end up being a bad night for Vter Hugo. Tentatively, I'm taken by decision. This is also why I think this card... just not it, man. Just not it. You might notice from the Reebok, uniform she has. I was taping these fights, and I sat there, and I got to this fight, and I audibly say, "What the fuck are you doing here? What are you? I thought you retired." She's had kids. She's just been chilling. She's not been fighting. Like, what are you doing here? What is her last fight? It was Juliana Pena. Yeah, it was a win. Cool. Back in 2020. COVID time. It's been almost 4 years. Before that, it had been a year where she lost Amanda Nunes. Wasn't this the Colby Covington versus Usman card? It was, wasn't it? No, I think it was a fight night before. I don't know. I don't know, man. Why? And the disgusting thing is, if she, oh my God, Norma Dumont. I knew her legs are big, but if she comes back at 100%, I don't see it. If she comes back at 90 or 80%, she should light up Norma Dumont on the feet. Norma Dumont is a good striker for modern women's bantamweight, but not compared to the level that Germaine Randamie fought at in terms of women's bantamweight. But again, it's been 4 years. I'm not picking someone on a 4-year layoff, though I think she should win. I think she probably can win. But no, she's a dog too. Dog or pass. I can't say that. I'm not doing it. Norma Dumont can hit very hard. Ask Chelsea Chandler. But Germaine Randamie is just the far more prolific and better striker. She can piece her up from every angle, every direction. Norma Dumont has the better kicks probably, but again, Randamie's been so inactive that I can't pick her. Get this fight out of my face. Dumont decision. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Get this fight out of my face too. Court McGee versus Alex Morono. Two guys whose chins are long shot. They're gone. Court McGee got knocked out so brutally by Matt Brown, but then again, Alex Morono, who hasn't knocked out Alex Morono? Somehow Buckley didn't. Oh, that happened. I don't know, he took out Tim Means, but Ponzinibbio knocked him out. Okay. Well, UFC's website isn't working, but I believe Alex Morono was on a 3-fight finish streak, as he got finished 3 times. I'm going to have to pull this up through alternative memes. But ultimately, Alex Morono's got power, yeah. And Court McGee has really good wrestling that he chooses to not use. Alex Morono. No, he was a 3-fight knockout streak. He's been knocked out. He's been knocked out 3 times. There we go. But yeah, I could see Alex Morono. I could see him knocking out Court McGee, man. Court McGee's on a 2-fight knockout losing streak. To Jeremiah Wells as well. Yeah, you gotta go Morono. You gotta go Morono by knockout. I guess maybe a decision's better, but I just get this on my face. Hey, look! A good fight! Look! It's a really good fight! We're going to be having Trevor Peek taking on Charlie Campbell. Charlie Campbell is a really solid striker, very good at fighting at the distance, but Trevor Peek is Trevor fucking Peek, man. He is a crazy, chaotic, wild fighter, standing hammer fist, just no rhyme, no reason, just violence. He just sees red. He just sees red, he just goes, and he just wants to beat you up no matter what. And I love that about Trevor Peek. I am always happy to watch a Trevor Peek fight, and he's got a good dance partner. Charlie Campbell's also pretty tough as well, too. I could definitely see him weathering the storm of Trevor Peek and potentially surviving. Or even, nah, I can't say. He could knock out Trevor Peek, maybe. But we've seen Charlie Campbell get knocked out before against power punchers or chaotic brawlers like a Chris Duncan, which leads me to believe that I think Trevor Peek can get it done. I believe he's probably the underdog, right? Yes, he is the underdog. People are favoring Charlie Campbell, but Nate Landwehr got it done. I feel Trevor Peek could do something very similar just by putting a pace, putting an onslaught on him. And I don't think Charlie Campbell's knocking out Trevor Peek. You're going to have to outstyle him. Campbell, that's going to be tough, keeping a distance and trying to outstyle Trevor Peek. So, tentatively, I'm going to be going Trevor Peek. I'm going him by a knockout. And I think either way, it should be a fun fight. I spilled water everywhere. Lovely. Vter Walker versus Lucas Brzeski. Lucas Brzeski's on something. That's all I'm going to say. He's on something and it's not working. He's on something and it's not working. My boy has not had a win since 2020 and we're putting him on the main card. Are you kidding me? Why are we doing this? Vter Walker, this is a setup for him. He's in a good spot, touted prospect on an insane streak. Not a loss to his name. Perfect 11-0. Lucas Brzeski. I don't know. If he comes back here looking like he turned the clock and something changed and he's a way better fighter or something like that, my theory I've been saying for a while now is going to probably come to fruition. I've been saying it, man. I really have. But some of these fighters like OSP should not have looked like how he did in that fight. Somehow, Chris Weidman is looking really good against Bruno Silva minus the eye poke. Ignoring that, putting that aside. I don't like it. I don't like it. There's something fishy. Something fishy in the air. And Lucas Brzeski. I don't know. Either way, this fight sucks. Give me Vter Walker by KO or however the fuck he wants. However he wants. Hey, look, a good fight. Ignacio Bahamondes versus Christos kill me. This is a solid fight. Ignacio Bahamondes is a guy I was pretty high on. He seemed to really be shaping up. He was landing some, not landing some good shots, but he was putting in some good performances. And then he ran into a wall at UFC Nashville. Who was it? It was Ludovic Klein. Ludovic Klein really exposed his game, but he exposed his game in terms of striking defense realm. Gigarios is not going to be doing that. Christos, I can't say it. Christos, overall, he's powerful. He has good striking, but I'm not a fan of his gas tank. I don't think he has the best gas tank. Ignacio Bahamondes, on the other hand, better striker everywhere. Very good takedown defense. 85% when people are shooting takedowns on him left and right. His takedown defense is really good. The problem is if you get him on the ground, he's gonna visit and duck. I think he should be able to piece up Chris Gallos, and I think he's going to be able to get the TKO, to be honest with you. It'll be a late one, but definitely favor Ignacio Bahamondes in this role. Morgan Charrier versus Chepe Mariscal. Chepe is also a dog. Chepe fought Trevor Peek. As a rather uneventful fight, surprisingly enough for both guys, but Chepe Mariscal is a dog. Morgan Charrier, he's a very, very skilled fighter, and I think he's probably going to be too skilled for Chepe, to be honest with you. I think he's better in the grappling. I really like his ground and pound, and I'm just going to be leaning towards him in this aspect, in this fight. I think in all aspects of MMA, he's going to have just a slight edge over Chepe, but I think it's going to be a really tough, hard-fought fight. I can see Chepe maybe making a run, but ultimately and tentatively, I'll be taking Morgan by decision. Alexander Hernandez taking on Damon Jackson. Yo, you remember when Alexander Hernandez was that guy? You remember when he was that guy and then he got humbled to all hell by Cowboy Cerrone? Yeah. Since then, hasn't looked that good. He has not looked that good, to be perfectly honest with you. His only win in the last couple of years is Jim Miller. And Jim Miller, while he's good, I like him, he's old, man. A win over Jim Miller doesn't mean much. He's losing to other guys, solid guys like Billy Q, Renato Seriano, believe Moises. I think even Dober knocked him out at one point. But Damon Jackson also not that good, to be perfectly honest with you. I know a lot of people really high, and there was a lot of love on Damon Jackson when he fought Billy Quarantillo. But yeah, no, I was not on that. And we saw 50K Ige flatline him. And many fights before that, we saw Ilia Topuria flatline him. I don't think Fluffy's flatlining him, but I think Fluffy could put a pace on and land some good shots on him. I still am not 100% sold on Fluffy at featherweight, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm still not a huge fan of it, but I think it should be enough to take out Damon Jackson, but I think it'll be a decision. And then on to the main event of the evening, the rematch between Brendan Allen and Chris Curtis. As you know, it's supposed to be Marvin Vettori. Pulled out. Cool. Not cool. Because to be honest with you, I don't want to see this rematch. I don't think, yeah, Brendan Allen's advanced. He's a better fighter now. Cool. I still think this fight will play out relatively the same way. But alright, regardless, Brendan Allen taking on Chris Curtis. Brendan Allen's going to be 28 years of age, 23 wins, 5 losses, 5 knockouts, 14 submissions, 6'2" in terms of height, orthodox stance, 75-inch reach, disadvantage, a 1.36 takedown average, a 60.72% significant strike accuracy, minus 210 favorite. Significant wins over Paul Craig, Bruno Silva, and Andre Muniz. Chris Curtis gave you 36 years of age, 31 wins, 10 losses, 17 knockouts, 1 submission. 1 fucking submission, my boy. Whoever that is needs to retire. He is going to fire the orthodox stance. 5'10" in terms of height. 75-inch reach advantage. Is not a damn takedown to his name. 52.70% significant strike accuracy. A plus 175 underdog with significance over Marc-Andre Barrieu, Phil Hawes, and Joaquin Buckley. I don't know. Brendan Allen has advanced in the striking aspect quite a bit, yes. But at the end of the day, Chris Curtis has very solid takedown defense, 92%. Brendan Allen he wants to either take you down, not by a hard margin. He does not really go for takedowns much, but what he really wants to open up his jiu-jitsu realm is to drop you, club, and sub. Both things Chris Curtis are really immune to. You have to beat Curtis up in the striking realm and be a much better striker, like, say, an Imamov. But even then, even if you're a really good striker, he can still catch you like a Buckley. And we saw Chris Curtis, he very, very frequently beat the living piss out of him in the last fight. Like, it really didn't have much for Chris Curtis, and that was his last loss. Granted, 3 years ago, yes, I know. But just Curtis seems so much better in every aspect. I don't think Chris Curtis has regressed, honestly. Like, I know Curtis is old, but I don't think he's really regressed. We saw him fight against Buckley was really good. We saw him fight really well. Not really well, but we saw his counters against Marc-Andre Barriault. I could see him doing the same thing to Brendan Allen again. Maybe not knock him out this time. Maybe Brendan Allen's too good, but I don't think he'll knock him out. I like Chris Curtis's cardio over, I'd say, more than Brendan Allen. We've never seen Brendan Allen go 5 rounds, and Chris Curtis, I believe we've seen him go 5 rounds like way before UFC before. Yeah, he's gone to 5 rounds a few times before the UFC. I could see him piecing up Brendan Allen and getting a finish in the later rounds, or take a decision. I just don't want to lean towards the decision as much because of how I think Allen will be a little bit more reserved in this fight. So yeah, tentatively, I'm going to be taking Chris Curtis. There's not much going into this, and I'm surprised that he's the underdog. I don't know why he's the underdog. Yes, recency bias, but again, I don't think Brendan Allen has advanced, and he's advanced quite a bit. He's gotten much better as a fighter, but not better in the aspects he needs to be able to take out a guy like Chris Curtis. I think Chris Curtis can counterpiece him to oblivion, honestly. He could countershot him left, right, here, there. So, yes, I'm going to Chris Curtis to win this fight by I'm going to cop out. I'm just going to say Chris Curtis wins. But yes, this has been your boy Gomi. This is a fight night. This is the Apex 90. Just need to get past this week, and we get to UFC 300. And while I'm one of those guys who've been saying, oh, UFC 300 is not as good as it could have been, it should have been, would have been, I'm still saying it's better than what we've been getting, man. It really is. So, once again, this has been your boy Gomi. Let me know what you think in the comment sections below, and bye-bye.